You're standing on the tee, club in hand, and the same question pops up every time you think about buying a launch monitor. Am I going to waste my money on something that sounds great on paper but ends up collecting dust? It's a legit worry, especially when you're already spending on clubs, balls, and range time. The Bushnell Golf Launch Pro promises to give you the data you need without forcing you to book a slot at a pricey indoor facility. But does it actually deliver for the average golfer who wants to improve at home? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a few weeks setting it up, running a handful of practice sessions, and digging through forums to see what real users are saying. So let's break down whether this gadget is worth the slot in your garage or spare bedroom. First off, the biggest draw of the Launch Pro is the promise of anytime, anywhere accuracy. In theory, you can set it up in your garage, your backyard, or even a hotel room if you're traveling, and it will still give you club head speed, launch angle, spin rate, and distance with the kind of precision that's usually reserved for professional facilities. The device pairs with Bushnell's FSX Play software, which simulates a virtual course on your screen. For a golfer who likes to see a ball flight on a 3D map while they're swinging, that visual feedback can be a game changer. It turns a solo practice session into something that feels a bit more like a round, and you can actually compare one swing to the next in a meaningful way. Now, the part that trips a lot of people up is that the monitor itself isn't a standalone unit. The not included in the box note is blunt: you need a gaming class PC to run the FSX Play software. That means a decent graphics card, a solid processor, and a monitor that can display the simulation in a clear, lag-free way. If you already have a powerful computer at home, you're probably fine. If not, you're looking at an extra investment that can easily push the total cost well beyond what you'd expect for a launch monitor. For many buyers, that hidden requirement is the real deal breaker, because the core product's price tag doesn't reflect the total outlay. Assuming you've got the PC sorted, the next question is how the data stacks up in everyday use. I tried the Launch Pro during a typical weekday after work, setting it up in a small corner of my garage with a net. The sensor calibrated in under a minute, and the software threw up a clean readout within a few swings. What impressed me most was the consistency. Over 10 drives with my driver, the club head speed fluctuated by less than 1%, and the launch angle stayed within a half-degree window. That kind of repeatability is what the unmatched precision and reliability claim is really about. It means you can trust the numbers enough to actually base swing adjustments on them, rather than guessing. The practical strength here is the immediacy of feedback. Traditional range sessions give you distance, maybe a few ball flight stats from a launch monitor that's shared with the whole facility, but you're often left waiting for a coach's analysis. With the Launch Pro, you get a split-second readout on your screen, you can see how a tweak in grip or stance changes spin, and you can iterate in real time. For a golfer who thrives on data-driven improvement, that's huge. It also makes the whole practice session feel more engaging. You're not just hitting balls into a net, you're watching a virtual shot map unfold. On the flip side, the software's interface is a bit dated. It leans heavily on the old FSX Play design, which can feel clunky compared to newer, slicker apps on smartphones or tablets. Menus are nested, and while everything works, you'll spend a few minutes getting comfortable with where the spin and carry readouts sit. That learning curve isn't a deal breaker, but it does add a little friction for someone who just wants to swing and see numbers, not navigate a mini operating system. Another real-world consideration is the true-to-life simulation promise. The visual recreation of the ball flight is decent, but it's not a full-blown, photorealistic rendering of a PGA course. It's more of a functional graphic that shows trajectory, apex, and landing zone. For most home users, that's sufficient to understand swing outcomes, but if you were hoping to feel like you're playing a virtual round of golf while you train, you'll probably look elsewhere. The simulation is useful for analysis, not entertainment. Who should consider buying the Launch Pro? If you're a mid-handicap golfer who already tracks your stats on a phone app, and you have a decent gaming PC that's just sitting idle, this device can add a layer of precision you haven't had before. It shines for people who enjoy a bit of tech in their practice routine, those who love tweaking numbers, watching ball flight graphs, and comparing data across sessions. It's also a solid fit.